The time has come, my little friends, to speak of many things, of shoes and ships and sealing wax and cabbages and kings. And a child that's just been taken in a dark gray Chevrolet Impala or Malibu. It is June of my 26th year, and I realize I've been doing this on and off for a long time. I'll make a video that's a capsule of what it was like since my last videos. The difference is this time I haven't watched my previous videos before filming this. I did create a series in May that I've decided I will not be posting or uploading, and I have made an overall decision to attempt to be less public on my social media. I end up repeating myself a lot. It's a pretty good capsule of my overall mental state, seeing the way I've progressed from the age of 18, 16, all the way to now. And I know originally when I started this project years and years ago, at least 10 years now, I think, I'm not certain, what sparked this, there was a quote from the Green Brothers saying that we are the generation that our children will know exactly what we're like. I don't know if it was the Green Brothers in particular, but I remember somebody who was incredibly influential in the early 2000s said that, and I took that to heart. I thought it was really interesting, and I wanted to be able to give a good representation of the things that I thought were important at the time. Lo and behold, what was important at the time is exactly the same things that are important to every other person. It also really well chronicles the fact that I have been struggling with depression literally my entire life. It took me a long time to be able to handle that seriously because I always belittled myself for it. I always told myself that I was being melodramatic and I could just get over it whenever I wanted to. I just had to actually pick myself up. I was wrong. I had to go through therapy, like a lot of people do. And I will say also, going to therapy isn't enough. Yes, go to therapy. You should speak with somebody that you trust that's a licensed mental health professional that understands the definitions and origins of maladaptive coping mechanisms and rumination and all of the things you're going to struggle with in your mind. And you should continue to grow and learn if that's something that interests you and that's something that you value in your life. I do also personally feel that oftentimes telling someone to go to therapy is a way to just shrug them off and let them know that their emotions are not your responsibility and that you don't want to feel responsible or culpable for anything that they're going through. And I think that is perfectly valid. It especially happens on the internet, but it almost is never done in good faith, in my opinion. Most of the time, it's just something we use to get someone off of our backs. So, additional advice I would give to somebody that's looking at going to therapy that might be hesitant is look at people in your area. Shop yourself. Even if you're a minor, you should be shopping for your therapist with your parents, or you can shop for your therapist on your own and take that initiative. But look for people that are going to have similar understandings and backgrounds. Also consider the fact that maybe somebody's going to be a better match for you than you expected because of characteristics you didn't take into place. I always had much better relationships with male therapists than female therapists. I don't know why. I do know that I prefer more frank communication style, and I hate something that I call therapy voice. And the difference between normal speaking, like what I'm doing with you right now, if anything, this is a bit performative because I'm on camera, so I'm changing my demeanor because you're perceiving me. The difference between this kind of speech and therapy speak is, oh, that must have been so hard for you. We should really look into resources that you can utilize. You know, we'll work on this together. It'll be okay. I think one of the reasons that gets to me is because of 19 Kids and Counting, and it just reminds me a lot of women who are bullied into being submissive and things like that. I understand taking a gentle approach with somebody who has mental health issues and concerns is there to make them feel more stable. But for me, that just grates me. So those are some of the things that I look for in a therapist, some very surface level things. That's not saying that if I got matched with a woman therapist, I wouldn't do well. I'm just saying that it's something that's different than what I would expect to work with me. Something else that can be brought up that's in every single one of these updates is my dating life. I'm 26 and I've been single for 2 years now. I regret talking about my relationships on camera. Over the years, I have talked about getting engaged and married, my first girlfriend, my first female encounter, things of that ilk. And on top of not being mentally sound, I was not mentally well to be partnered with people. I took the time that I was supposed to be spending building up education and credentials and placing myself into a community, overvaluing the people I was attached to and seeing them as a way out of my current situation. The way that I came at my partners was hyper-codependent, and it was not conducive for healthy attachment styles. And it took me so long to recognize that I was just going off the roller coaster and understanding the impact that I was having on the people I was attached to. I'm 26. I'm still in college for my bachelor's degree. I've got another 2 years to go. When I look up on Google about characteristics that make somebody a good candidate for receiving When I look up on Google about what makes someone a good candidate for going into a master's degree program or even just being a good employee in a company, you want somebody that has no more than 2 or 3 drops. You do anything more than 2 or 3 drops, it shows a lack of commitment, a lack of follow through, a lack of understanding, and it shows that you are rickety. You don't have a solid foundation. And that is going to be on my record forever. I can't change the fact that I dropped so many classes. I do think that the worst thing anyone said to me in my higher education, this was in my first year of going to college, is that being on academic probation isn't a big deal. Because it kinda is. The more times you're on academic probation and the closer you get to academic suspension, the more time you are spending in college, the more time you are prolonging your higher education. Now, being on it maybe once or twice, if you're having a really dire semester, it should be for a dire semester. It shouldn't be for the entirety of your higher education. If someone dies, if you go through critical health issues, if something lands on your plate that is too heavy for you to handle on your own, or too heavy for you to handle in coinciding, or too heavy for you to handle coinciding with your higher education, that is completely understandable why you would end up on academic probation or academic suspension. But my pattern of being in school, getting on academic probation, having to take remedial courses telling me how to study, what everything is, how it works, passing, and then failing again. Literally, it was like a 3-semester cycle throughout my entirety of higher education. Messed me up. Forever. Just did. I resent the fact that I'm 26 and I'm in school to get my bachelor's degree. Because when I tell people I'm in school, they expect me to be getting my master's, and they're incredibly impressed. I am not. I know the truth. Now, one thing I do have to say is that I went back. And I went back pretty young for people who go back. It's probably why people think I'm going in for my master's. Because most people who go back don't go back until they have established family lives, they have some career backing them, they've got other things under their belt, they're 30, 40, and they've decided they want a lifestyle change. They've decided they want something that only higher education can give them. They get to go back and they have rehabilitation programs that wipe their slate clean from their early 20s or however old they were the first time they went into college in order to pursue the future without having any of that holding them back, without that being on their records. I don't have that privilege because my understanding came pretty early. So, I have wasted a lot of time. I have screwed up my priorities. I have messed up with the things that I've needed to get done by putting things that could wait ahead of that. Because I was so worried about dying alone and living alone. I was so preoccupied with death itself and the nothingness. I was so preoccupied with things that will happen further down the line, if they happen at all. That being said, I aim on this being my last update on my YouTube channel about how my life has gone. Now, why is that? I don't want kids. If you'll remember me saying earlier, one of the things that inspired me to do this is the thought that my generation is going to be one of the first generations where our children have an exact record of what we were like growing up. And even when I was a young child, I knew I didn't want kids. They're very loud. They're a heavy responsibility. They are a lot of work. And if anyone out there wants children and they are responsible and can handle it, absolutely. You can have as many children as you can reasonably care for within your means and your understanding. There is nothing wrong with that. You should be getting support from your community. And you should be supporting yourself and your children. You should do the things that you love. Because there are things that you can do that nobody else can take from you. There are life experiences that you should have, that if that's your dream, it should happen for you. There are people around my age that are all changing their minds about wanting kids, and that's also perfectly fine. But I don't think I will change mine. I'm fairly certain I won't change mine. I'm a child-free person, and that is not how I'm going to define myself, by something that I don't have, but it's just something that I don't want. I don't feel as though people who have kids and make that decision deserve to be disrespected, and I don't feel that I deserve to be disrespected. I think we are two different lifestyles that deserve to coincide in a larger society. That's what I think. So, where are we concluding with this? Hello. My name is Blair Carter, and I am 26. I get my driver's license on the 19th of this month. I am in college for a bachelor's of business management with a focus in human resources, even though that hasn't been blatantly discussed with my academic advisor. I should probably talk about that. And I'm not updating this anymore. Because I deserve to look at my YouTube channel and not cringe. That being said, shortly after this comes out, at my discretion, I'm going to be taking down all of the videos, making them at least private, if not deleting them, and trying to relegate my digital footprint. And that's it.